Welcome to another tech video. So today we're going to be looking at upgrading the hard disk in this Mac late 2012 model. So this is running Catalina, so this is using the non-journal file system. So it creates, basically you've got two partitions. A single first partition is the OS, which is read only, and the second partition is for your data. So what we're going to do is we are going to start off by cloning the entire disk to what we have here, which is a 1 terabyte Western Digital SSD drive. So first thing you want to do is we need to connect that into the device. I'm not going to plug that in just yet. So with Catalina, because it's got two partitions, you can either use the time machine restore function, or you can use some software called Carbon Copy. So this is a paid for piece of software, but if you use the trial and you're only going to be cloning your drive once, then you've got the ability to do that with this software. And what you want to do is we're going to clone the entire disk to the SSD drive. So let's go ahead and get that installed, and then we'll come back and show you what's required. Okay, so once you've got your Carbon Copy installed and you've got your drive also attached, what you want to do is we are going to select a source disk. So our source disk is going to be the Macintosh HD, which contains your multiple partitions. So we select that as the source. And then we're going to select our destination. So our destination is going to be our Mac SSD. And then we're not going to configure it to be scheduled or run automatically. But what we are going to do is we're going to come down and just double check the settings. Okay, so there's nothing to add in there, so we can minimize that. And then the next thing you want to do is to click on clone. As you can see here, because this is the first install, we need to install the Privilege Helper tool. So click on that and enter your password, and that will install that for you. We can pop our password in. And this is to give us full disk access. And then what you want to do is you want to go through to open your security and privacy and give it full disk access. And as you can see, the device itself is pretty slow, so that is why we are going to change the hard disk to an SSD drive to speed things up. And again, we want to enter our details, and we want to select Carbon Copy Cloner. So we'll quit that. Full disk access to make sure that that's it. Once that's done, you can lock it, close that. We can now go back to our Carbon Copy. So don't check. It is the trial that we're using. So you get full access to this for 30 days. And that is cloning basically, because what we've done is we've gone in and we've told it to have full disk access. So when you come back and restart it, that will just carry on. And as you can see here, data is copying from Mac HD to Mac SSD. And that's all there is to it. So once that is completed, this is going to take a significant amount of time, so we will come back and we'll continue from there. Okay, so once the system volume's copied across, it'll then move on to your data volume. So the data volume is where all your applications and documents and data are stored. The system volume is where the operating system is kept. The operating system is read-only, so it's a security feature from Catalina, which is good. So this section now will take a lot longer. So the first system volume copied, that took about 45 minutes. Depending on how much data you've got, will take significantly longer. So as soon as that's finished, we will come back again. Okay, so finally both partitions have been cloned. So that took 7 hours and 40 minutes. So a significant amount of time. Next thing we want to do is we are going to shut down the machine, and we are going to take out the hard disk, replace it with the SSD drive, and then we're going to tell the system to use that as the startup drive. So let's go ahead and do that. So don't save to that, and we can close that down. We go over here, we shut the machine down. Okay, so we're going to disconnect the power, we're going to disconnect our SSD drive, and we're going to clear everything away. Okay, so to get into the system, we have got to take off the screen all the way around. We're going to break the seal that currently is in place. Now this is the bit that you want to make sure you are very, very careful with, because the LCD comes all attached to the screen itself, to the glass itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide the tools we need. We're going to use this device here. So this has got a little lipped edge which we're going to get into the side. We've then got our little cutter that we're going to use to slice all the way around. So we're going to start at the top edge. We're going to insert, find our way in here, like so. There we go. And then we're going to insert a cutter, and we're going to slide that up the left hand side, breaking the seal as we go, and all the way along the top, making sure that you hold on to it. Now the good thing about these is you can't go too deep, so as we go over the webcam, you can see that actually it's quite safe to do that because it doesn't cut too deep. But you want to run it all the way around the system until you've got the seal cut all the way along. Okay, so we're now going to turn this round, and we're going to go down the left hand side. I'm going to tip it back slightly, making sure that the glass doesn't come away. Oh. So you just do the three edges basically, all the way down the sides along the top. Like that. Next thing, we're going to use this spreader. We're just going to insert that, and we're going to lever it off until we can prise it away. And once we prise it away, we want to disconnect the power cable, which is on the top. So if we turn this around, inside we've got two cables. Not going to be able to see this very well, so let's see if we can zoom in. So we've got a power cable that just has got two little clips on the side that you can just pull out, and then the other one, which is the display cable, has a clip on it, and that just releases. So the clip lifts up and then the cable will slide out, and then you want to remove the screen. So we just tilt the screen down. Okay, that's come away completely now, so which is good. And then we can take our display and put that to one side. We're going to come back to that later. So we're going to put that in a place where it's not going to get damaged. Okay, so once you've got the display removed, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to remove the hard disk. So this is the power board here. This holds charge for a significant amount of time, so you don't want to touch that, or if you are going to touch it, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you leave the device for a significant amount of time, so say up to about 48 hours. In the meantime, what we can do is we can start looking at peeling away the adhesive, and to do that we're going to use a very small knife to get under the edges. So we're just going to go under the edges ever so slightly to peel it away. And it even sticks over the antenna. So we're going to peel that off ever so slightly from here, all the way around, and again over that antenna. Just going to remove all of the tape. So you want to be careful when you do this, making sure that you don't damage anything. If you get your knife under the edge, that will allow you just to peel it off. Now normally it comes off a bit easier than this. So we haven't done too many of these. On this particular model we've changed the hard disk on probably about 5 or 6 so far. There we go. Peel all the tape off and take the tape off the antenna. Okay, so what you want to do, you want to be careful of the webcam. So getting the edge of the knife just to lift the edge of the tape up so that you can get your fingers underneath and peel that off all the way down. And then again on the bottom and that just peels off all the way along the bottom. So that's it done from the back. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to change the disc. Okay, so to get the hard disk out, I'm going to put my gloves on while we're touching everything. So we've got 4 T10 screws that we're going to remove. Okay, so we remove that bracket. That's one. I'm going to keep the screws in there so I know which ones go which. Because the shorter screws go at the top, the longer ones, certainly on that side, go at the bottom. Okay, and again, long one at the top. Making sure I'm not touching the power board. There we go. So that's our 2 brackets removed. and then the hard disk will come out, and you want to just wiggle out the connectors from the left hand side like that, and that is it. So there we've got our 1 terabyte hard disk. Now we're going to remove the cover from there. So you just peel the sides off, they are stuck. So you just want to peel them away carefully. And the same on this side. And you want to make sure that the disc goes in the same way. So we're going to remove that like that. We're going to put that hard disk to the side, and we're going to take our SSD drive, and that is going to go back in the holder. It's the nice thing about these SSD drives, you don't need a converter cage. You only need the converter cage if you're going from 2.5 to 3.5, so if you're taking out a full 3.5-inch drive. So that's that back in. The next thing that we want to do is reconnect our SATA cables. We haven't got a lot of room here, so that's 1, 2. God, yeah, that's tricky. Okay, so we'll make sure that those are in nice and tight, and then we can wiggle our drive sleeve, rubber drive sleeve, back in there like that. We're going to deal with the dust in a minute. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to insert our screws and our brackets. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is, with the gloves, I'm just going to give everything a bit of a wipe down, and I have got a small paintbrush that I'm going to use just to get into the fan, give the fan a bit of a loosen the dust, give it a blowout. Okay, there we go. As you can see here, there's quite a bit of dust coming out from underneath the air vents. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is going to take a bit of kitchen roll and some isopropyl alcohol. And you don't necessarily need to do this, but to make sure that we get a good seal around the edge, I go round where the tape used to be, and I just give that a rub down to clean any excess. Make sure it is absolutely clean, ready for the new adhesive to go on. Also turn it around if you need to. Give that a good clean to make sure that the new tape is going to stick. There we go. Put the lid on as soon as you can, because it's quite potent stuff. Right, so that is now the base unit completed. What you need to do next is to apply your tape around the edge, leaving the outside seal on. And the reason for that is because we're actually going to be putting the we're actually going to be putting the screen back on. And not sticking it down straight away. So I'm going to put the tape on there. Like so. Get it mounted in the right place. So this is 3M tape VHB. So it is very, very sturdy. Now you don't want to go all the way across the top. You just want to go up to and as far as the webcam block. So we want to cut that off just before the webcam block like that, and then continue like so, and again just trim the corner round and press that so it's all nice and tight all the way around. Like so. So now we're finished with that, so I'm going to take that, I'm going to put that to one side. Now we come to the glass surface. So what we're going to do on here is we're going to remove the old tape, so you don't need to put any additional tape on here. So let's move the camera down. And we're going to remove the tape from the edges. Like that. Okay. Just got one tiny little piece in the corner. Corners are probably the most important, so you want to make sure you do get all of it off. Okay, so that's the sticky stuff off. Now we're going to take some more kitchen roll, more isopropyl alcohol, put some of that on there, and we're going to give it a good rub down and a good clean all the way along. You can see they're quite filthy. Okay. Right, so the next thing that we want to do is we're going to remove our tools from the area. And we're going to take our screen. That's going to go to one side for the minute. Okay, so we've got our system back. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to reattach the screen, and we're going to go into the recovery mode, and we're going to tell it to boot off our new SSD drive. We're going to make sure that that all boots up. Once it's booted up and we're happy with things, then we can shut it down, and then we can remove the seal from around the tape and get it back together. So to hold the screen on, I just use some masking tape that is not going to be too sticky for the screen. So the first thing that we want to do is we are going to reattach our cables. So we want to get our screen, and that sits on the bottom like so. Okay, so we want to make sure that we get our cables attached. So to do that, you want to be very, very careful at this stage, because you don't want to drop the screen, but we do want to get it connected. So first of all, you probably can't see this, but I'm going to take the first cable with the clamp and clip that in. I'm not going to be able to show you that, I'm afraid. It's too delicate. Like that. and then the cable clips on, and then the power cable goes into the top socket. Like that, and then the screen can go on. So we're going to tilt the screen back while we do this bit. I'm going to put a strip along the bottom, and then I'm going to take two strips, one over the top, tear that off like that, and one over the top here. That way I know that the screen is safe. Get some power on, and then we want to do Control R. Let's press and hold the Command key down and R as well, and that should take us into the startup menu. Okay, so that's good news. So we're into the recovery manager now. So the next thing we want to do is just zoom in so that we can see this for you. We want to go into our disk utility. Okay, so we now should be able to, if we quit that, we should be able to start. We want to choose the startup disk. So we're going to select Mac SSD as the startup disk, and then we're going to select restart. Let's just stick that back down, and we'll set restart. Okay, so that was significantly faster than the hard disk. Let's get this booted all the way into Mac OS. Okay, looks good. Everything's started up already. So this was the part that it was taking up to 10 minutes for all the icons to appear. So that seems to be good. Everything seems to be starting. Okay, that's it. So we can now shut that down, and we can then reattach the screen. That's all looking good. Okay, so again, we want to clear the area. I'm going to make sure it's off, which it is. So we're going to unplug it. Like so. I'm going to turn the screen round now, because what we don't want to happen is for it to fall off, and if it does fall down, then I've got this nice soft towel there for it to fall onto. The plan is to remove the tape. You've got to make sure that you don't push the screen together at the moment. Best place is to hold it around where the webcam is. Okay, there we go. So that's three sides. Now, what you can do is to lie it down. Just let the glass rest, but don't press it down yet. We've got to take the bottom edge off, which we're going to do by lifting just the very bottom edge up gently. There we go. Okay. Now I can release the glass, and then you want to, with a soft cloth or pair of gloves like I'm using, we're going to go around and we're going to press the screen onto the back plate. So we just go around, gently press it in all the way around the sides and around the top. Making sure that's pressed in nice and tight. Okay, once you've done that, I'm going to lay that down and I'm going to get some screen cleaner. Okay, so once you've got everything back together, you can give it a gentle clean with some just glass cleaner. You don't want to use any chemicals on this screen at all. I'm just going to give it a gentle wipe over. With a cloth like that. And then the next thing, we're going to get a soft cloth and we're going to buff that up. Okay, so the soft cloth that we're using is just it's an anti-static soft cloth, and that will just buff and shine to make it as new. And again, just go around the edges, making sure it's all pushed in nice and tight. So once you're happy with that, then we can get that reconnected to the mains and we can get that powered back up. So that's all there is to that video. It's a bit of a long one, that one, but we have to go through things step by step. If you found that useful, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and just like to say thanks for watching. Those boot up times are awesome now. That was taking over 5 minutes before, and now it's happening in 20 seconds, so thumbs up.